All right. So this time we should all be welcomed by the Dean of the Graduate School, Dr. Engelbert C. Pasag. Magandang umaga po, Dr. Engel.
Good morning, Virgo. Naririnig ba ako?
Yes, Doc. Loud and
Alright.
clear.
Thank you so much. This is actually a very exciting event because it's our first graduate school studies summit, and I would like to acknowledge, of course, our speakers, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, Senator Sani Angara, Dr. Danilo Bose, and Dr. Lorna Dino. Thank you also for joining us, Dr. Carl Balita, our Program Director of the Carl Balita Executive Education, and to our beautiful President, Rhonda Padilla. Um, with much effort being poured upon by our Dean of the School of Education and Arts, and also our professor in the graduate school, Dr. Virgo Lopez. I wish everyone good morning. Um, this day marks a very important event in the history of Pan Pacific Graduate School because it's our first graduate school summit. Second is that it's also to celebrate the first anniversary of the friendship, but of course, it's a partnership with the Dr. Carl Balita group, especially in putting up the Carl Balita Executive Education. The graduate school has been existing for how many years? And we tried our very best to only graduate or to teach those who can transform the society. Our society is actually full of challenges, especially right now, and we need leaders. And that's the reason why the partnership with Dr. Carl Balita is actually a very challenging one, but it's also very light. It's because it's actually founded on friendship and and actually under the same goal, which is to make humanity better. We wanted to produce leaders here at the Pan Pacific University. We wanted to present to the whole world that the university not only becomes just an instrument where you get a diploma, and when you get a diploma, you get a promotion. The reason why we are existing, it's because it's not only for the promotion or the money that you will get. It's not the diploma that you can actually show the world that you are a master's degree holder or a doctorate degree holder. It's actually how we can change the society and how we can uplift the situation of our friends, neighbors, and in the community where we are in. And that's the reason why we continue to innovate. We brought in last year, since last year, we brought in different kinds of professors. Not to mention, for example, I'll just mention Dr. Professor Richie Cuna, the Kurimi group, or the Fiorgelati, if you know that. Potato Corner, Joe Magsaysay. We also have Professor Henry Tenedero, the former PMAP president, and a lot more. Okay? And of course, Rosalina Fuentes, a rock star principal, also Dr. Robles, and so many more. We continue to innovate because if we bring in people who can change the hearts of our students, then that's also the way in which we can continue changing our people, our students to become a leader. Uh, During the pandemic, it was actually timely. It was very challenging, and almost no everyone have this question: how do we move forward? With Dr. Carl and I, together with University President Rhonda Padilla, we dreamt of something to become someone, not only in Region 1, but in the whole world. And true enough, since the first trimester of last year, okay, we have welcomed and with us in our means several students from not only in the Philippines, but also in Hong Kong, Qatar, UAE, the United States, Japan, and so many others. And this is something that we not only enjoy, and we're very proud of this kind of achievement, but it keeps on challenging us also to do better. And so today, we invited the best of the best to come up with this graduate school summit. Take note that the university always strives to become a game changer. take note also that the university wants also to patch people who can influence others' lives so that all our lives will become meaningful, especially in this kind of situation that we are in. 2020 is not a year of pandemic, but 2020 is actually the start where a lot of our students started graduate school and they said, we will not give up because of our situation we are in right now. A lot of us are actually being challenged, but then we did work actually. And so as of now, we have so many students from all over the world. And also, one of the biggest achievements of the Pan Pacific University is to show the world that we are a three-star university. We achieved last March the 3 stars from QS, and we are actually one of the 27 universities in the Philippines who have achieved this so far. In Region 1, this university is actually the only private university that has achieved the 3 stars from QS. And we're very proud of that. And we would like to show the world also that this is what we do to improve continually what we have achieved. And so I would like to welcome everyone. Please sit back and engage, actually enjoy and engage and have fun in the discussion because this is gonna be one big event that we can learn and be proud of. So maraming salamat and good morning.
Maraming salamat po, Dr. Engelbert C. Pasag, our Dean of the Graduate School. And this time we would like to engage our participants. Please type in the chat box where you're coming from, your institutions or your places. All right, please type in the chat box. Saan po tayo nanggagaling? Probably the city or the province. And let's try to see saan po kayong lahat. Yeah, there we have Ara Flake, yes, from Okinawa, Japan. Magandang umaga po dyan. We have from Hong Kong. And then we have the others from Leyte, San Miguel. In Leyte, and we have also RM from Batangas. And then we have from Pasig. We would like to request everyone to please rename with your full name so that we could properly regard or acknowledge you later on. Thank you. We have also participants coming from Tarlac and then from Region 8, La Union. And then we have from Paris with love. And then from Albay, Palawan, General Trias, Cavite, Samar, Apari, Cagayan. So mula Apari, probably hanggang Pulo. So magandang umaga pa rin po. We're lucky this morning to be listening to a video message, of course, to be presented to us. We are lucky that the office of Senator Sani Amangara, the committee chair on finance and youth, to really inspire us about our lifelong journey through graduate school. So let's all watch this video.
Hello, we'd like to greet all the participants in today's seminar on lifelong learning. To Dean Lopez and Director Carl Balita. Our greetings and thanks. To the question, what is lifelong learning? Well, it is having loving learning and without the need of being prodded to seek out knowledge amidst the constant change in life. At no time in history have we witnessed such rapid changes in all facets of human life. Technology is really driving our life. Kaya mahirap din para sa mga guro, sa mga profesor sapagkat laging kailangan i-update po yung kanilang kaalaman at yung kanilang tinuturo sa kanilang mga estudyante. But even for employees, for workers, it's a time of rapid change, holding many jobs where job descriptions are constantly changing. So it requires really a lot of on-the-job training. So we wish you the best, and that is the best way to succeed, to be a lifelong learner. Salamat po, mabuhay po kayo.
Maraming salamat po, Senator Sanem Garra, the Chair of the Committee on Finance and Youth in the Senate of the Philippines. Speaking of lifelong learning, ano nga po ba ang kailangan para maging isa? We're lucky this morning for him to share about his dissertation, of course, on lifelong learning. We are excited to learn continuously from him, the Director of the Executive Education Program and the President and CEO of Dr. Carl Balita Review Center, Dr. Carl Balita. Good morning, Dr. Carl.
Good morning. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Good morning from my home to yours, to wherever you are. We're very happy to be with us, to be together today because we're talking about a topic that is very up close and personal. Okay, to me, I remember I saw my Facebook this morning and I realized that 2 years ago in 2019, I was with the Stanford University. Today is the second anniversary of my executive education program, the international management program in Stanford University. And I actually made a live broadcast from my hotel room and sharing with you, with the audience, with my followers, what I was doing in Stanford to learn international management. I mean, why did I spend a lot of time, a lot of money, and being away from the family when I already had 2 doctoral degrees after my name, when I was already somehow successful in doing the business that I chose, and my family is doing well? Why would I still be there? Because not to add up to my credentials, but I wanted in 2019 to understand something to prepare for the future. And I have to tell you, probably if Stanford did not come to me, maybe in response to the pandemic, maybe Carl Balita Review Center may have closed. But because of the lessons of agility, the lessons of entrepreneurship, and the lessons of leadership that I gained from that education, I knew how to not only navigate my own companies, but also to navigate myself and what I know, so that we can be part of nation building. We can be part of what could benefit the society. Just to share with you, would you believe that a small review center that we counted just the other day, 15th, no? We were able to help Quezon City in giving immunization to 500,000 Filipinos. Small review center that we are contributing to almost 600,000 now, going 600,000 vaccinees in Quezon City alone and some parts of NCR like Cavite. Paano nangyari yon? It's because we found that spirit of being lifelong learners, not only in the Zoom teaching people, or not only in the business leading and managing people, but in going out our way and finding out how we can help. I couldn't imagine my life, what my life has become. I mean, sharing my lifelong learning experience with you. I studied nursing. I was forced into nursing by my parents because they wanted me to be abroad. I did not like nursing. I vomited at the sight of the first surgery. I couldn't take watching blood. But I finished nursing. I passed the board. Then I realized I love teaching, so I went to the university. But then when I was promoted to be a dean at the age of 26, I left the university, wanted to be on my own, to take the road less traveled by. I took the road of entrepreneurship. I studied entrepreneurship then. I studied education. I became a doctor of education. I pursued my Master of Arts in nursing. I mean, I went out to prepare myself. You know what? The awards that you probably see behind me, I become part of ABS-CBN for 20 years. I had a show in ABS-CBN for 20 years. I did not study broadcasting. I don't have a single unit of mass comm in my transcript. But why am I a multi-awarded media personality of no less than ABS-CBN, staying long for 20 years, 20 long years? Why am I successful in business? I studied business only for a short while. You know what? The answer there is because I'm a lifelong learner. I know what learning is. I can already see our good senator. He will be properly introduced. Hi, sir, Senator. Mamaya po, ikikwento ko sa inyo yung ginagawa namin after you speak to us. Meron din kaming ginagawa sa Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Yan po yung we created the Education Task Force. We got some luminaries in education. We got Danilo Rosas, the president of PNU, Dr. Tuga. We got Coco Peya. We got Dr. Pefianco, the former DepEd secretary. We got all these luminaries in education in the Trifocalized system, sit together. We're 15. We meet every week. We met every week for the past 3 months. And Senator, we're ready to present the findings to you. We don't want to look at the negative anymore. We don't want to state the obvious anymore. But we want to move forward so that we can actually help this country, especially the educational system. Dr. Phoenix is sending his regards to you at Senator Win. And one of these days we'll sit together so that you can hear from us how the industry, together with the academe, what did we find out to be doable solutions so that we can help education. And today we're very happy. We have our very good friends to be our speakers. I will not, of course, saludo po kami sa inyo, pero you will be properly introduced later. Ayoko po ma-preempt yung introduction. But let me just go to that definition that is necessary before I turn over the floor to Dr. Virgo once again. I got this definition of the ILO for lifelong learning. I hope we can learn and pick it up from here. Sabi po ni Senator Angana kanina, you don't have to be prodded to get into learning if you're really a lifelong learner. But there's really an official definition. I decided to get the ILO definition because at the end of the day, after we go out of the academe, no matter what academic achievements, academic degree we may have had, we may have achieved, it is still what we can do in the world of work that matters. And according to the ILO, International Labor Organization, all learning activities undertaken throughout life for the development of competencies and qualification. Many of us will just go in for that qualification, but competencies matter more. Competencies cover knowledge, skills, and know-how applied and mastered in a specific context. And the qualification mean a formal expression of the vocational or professional abilities of a worker, which is recognized at international and national or sectoral levels. I highlighted 2 words here, competencies and qualification. While we're studying because we want to be qualified, while we're studying because we want to have the credentials, but more importantly, the ABS-CBN did not ask for my transcript to give me that microphone, which broadcast to 1 million people at the very least. All ABS-CBN looked for was my ability to sit down on that chair. Then it was just radio, and eventually it became television. I mean, ABS-CBN did not look for my units in mass communication or my certified training in broadcasting. But only then all I had was my competency to be right there in front of that microphone, broadcasting to millions of ABS-CBN listeners. And mind you, I thought I was good enough, but I really learned from the experience, from mentoring, from people around me, reading, going my way out to find out how to do it better, observing international standards of host, etc. And then I realized that I want to make a difference there. I wanted to give the positive message of hope, of peace, of prosperity. And then I did not realize that the Catholic mass media, these bishops and UP for Gandingan, even Saint Scholastica for Hildegard Awards, they were noticing what I was doing there, not only as a voice, then later on as a face of entrepreneurship in this country. And looking back, why do I deserve all of these awards, recognition, and ratings, it's because I learned it. And I wish that today you will realize that graduate studies may just be one of the options, but indeed, there are many opportunities if only we want to learn. In the words of Albert Einstein, we cannot solve the problems of yesterday using the same mindset that created it. And taking it from Toffler, who said that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So if we listen to these two great thinkers, men of our humanity, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And again, let me tell you that we cannot, in the words of Einstein, you cannot face the future with the same mindset that created your problems today. So let's start learning, make it a commitment, not only for yourself, but for the purpose by which we were born in this time and age. Maraming salamat po and God bless you. I'll moderate the conversation later. Let's get active and let's listen very well. Thank you very much, Dr. Virgo. Back to you, please. Thank you.
Maraming salamat po, Dr. Carl Balita. Let's give Dr. Balita a virtual clap icon from everyone. Thank you so much. And this time, it's my honor to introduce to you our keynote speaker to talk more about our theme, lifelong learning beyond graduate school. One of the most hardworking senators, Wing Gatchalian, continues to champion the youth-driven education advocacies that have become the hallmark of his distinguished 18-year career in public service. Now, as the chairman of the Senate Committee on Basic Education and Culture, he intends to continue to fight for a better and more equitable Philippine education system. He believes, and rightly so, that with accessible and quality education, everybody wins. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome in the virtual stage with a big round of applause, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian. Magandang umaga po, Senator.
Thank you, Virgo. Thank you for the kind introduction. Let me begin with acknowledging our school officials and also guests, Dr. Rhonda Padilla, Dr. Engelbert Tasag, of course, Dr. Virgo Lopez, and ito talagang iniidolo ko ito. My hats off to Dr. Carl Balita, and I was listening to him earlier, and indeed, his life story is worth emulating and worth noting. Very inspiring story from a lost boy, because hindi niya alam po anong kukunin niya before, to a very successful entrepreneur, the biggest, probably the biggest review center. Not only the biggest, but the most successful in terms of passing rate. Yun ang importante why you take review or why you engage review centers is to pass. And definitely their numbers speak for itself. Dr. Lorna Dino, Dr. Danilo Bose, and of course all the education leaders, teachers, graduate school students, and aspiring professionals. And of course, let me greet my seatmate. Ito, matagal ko na hong kaibigan to. Wala pa kami sa politika. The good Senator Sani Angara. Thank you for inviting me. I'd like to thank Pan Pacific University for inviting me to this very important and timely event. Timely ho, because the pandemic has really move the world towards a digital world. We cannot control this anymore. We cannot push back digitalization. And when you talk about digitalization, you're talking about the fourth industrial revolution. But before I talk about that, alam nyo, nainggit ako sa inyo. Talagang inggit na inggit ako. Whenever I get a chance to talk to graduate students, inggit na inggit ako dahil ang dream ko, Dr. Carl, is after my undergrad in the US, mag-MBA ako after 2 years. So, balak ko talaga kunin yung master's ko and then work in our family business. And I know I'm talking to some graduate students today and inggit ako dahil na-achieve niyo yung dream ko na kumuha ng master's. Sometimes your dream doesn't happen because of twist of fate. Instead of getting my master's, I went into the Masters of Politics. I ran for Congress in Valenzuela in 1991. At nagtuloy-tuloy na ho eh. No? Hindi ko na ho makontrol. Nanalo po ako ng 6 times And then every time na nananalo ako, sabi ko, hindi, gusto ko na mag-masters kasi yun yung dream ko talaga eh. Pero tumakbo ako ulit. And then the last day, I ran for Senate and I won again. No? But the Senate actually is a full-time, super full-time. In fact, hindi lang full-time, overflowing time job dahil it's probably more than 24 hours yung trabaho namin. So nainggit po ako sa mga graduate students and I congratulate Pan Pacific University for being one of the forerunners in terms of delivering good and quality graduate studies, being an ISO certified. One of the few universities who are ISO certified. So congratulations po to Pan Pacific. But having said that, I have a presentation of my observation. And not only my observation, but why lifelong learning is important in the realm of technology. Whether we like it or not, technology will fall upon our heads. And we have to embrace technology. And when you talk about technology, you're talking about digitalization. And when you talk about digitalization, you're talking about the fourth industrial revolution. So even yung mga education graduates, you have to take note because the fourth industrial revolution demands a lot of skills. Maraming skills na kailangan natin doon na hindi natin tinuturo. Turo tayo ng turo ngayon sa college and sa senior high school. Pag graduate po nila, iba na yung mundo. Hindi na nila magagamit yung mga pinag-aralan nila because the world has become digitalized. So let me just share my PowerPoint to you. I prepared this for our event today. So during the time of pandemic, we've seen all of this. Natuto tayo mag-Zoom. Kaya ngayon, nag-Zoom tayo. In fact, prior to pandemic, hindi po ako marunong mag-Zoom. Hindi ko nga alam anong ibig sabihin ng Zoom, to be honest about it. I've never used teleconference or virtual meetings. Puro face-to-face ako. Old school tayo, Dr. Carl. Tanda na kami. So we never use Zoom. But after the pandemic, everyone's using Zoom. In fact, wala na hong face-to-face meetings ngayon dahil delikado nga. So everyone learned how to use Zoom. I learned how to shop also online. Siguro yung mga mahilig mag-Shopee dito, lalo na yung bumibili sa online, alam nyo na napaka-convenient bumili ng items sa Amazon, Shopee, and Lazada. In fact, itong Shopee nga, medyo makulit. Every now and then, naririnig ko yung Shopee! Yung lumalabas na tone. Just to remind everyone to buy. Just goes to show that everyone now is on Shopee. And buying. Natuto rin ako. Before, I used to ask my driver to buy me things or ako minsan pupunta to buy. Pero ngayon, lahat online na. The same with food. Dati, nagpapabili pa ako sa driver pag may gusto akong kainin. Yan, puro delivery na. In fact, I order probably 2 to 3 times a week through GrabFood or Foodpanda. So everyone learned how to use all of these applications. And this is just a small fraction of what we call digitalization and a small fraction of what we call the fourth industrial revolution. Hindi nyo lang alam, pero itong mga applications ito form part of the fourth industrial revolution. But a small fraction lang. But then again, marami pa rin pong old school. Alam naman natin itong mga pictures na ito, yung pagkuha ng ayuda. Ganito po yung nakikita ho natin. Mano-mano pa rin pagbibigay ng pera. Takot nga ho yung mga cashier. Like sa Valenzuela ho, natatakot po yung cashier ho namin dahil araw-araw they talk to 2,000, 3,000 na tao. At sigurado ako may positive dyan. Imposible naman walang positive. So natatakot po yung mga cashier natin but no choice because mano-mano po talaga yung pagbibigay natin ng pera. The same with vaccines. This is a unholy sight from our constituents. My heart is broken whenever I see these pictures na pumipila sila kahit sa baha to get their vaccines. And when you reach the vaccination center, this is another picture that we see, siksikan because of the walk-in system. I don't agree on the walk-in system. We need to use technology to manage the booking and to manage the scheduling. But some LGUs, they rather tell their constituents to come and get their vaccines on a first come, first serve basis. ito ay nakikita natin kung bakit ganoon. So, whether we like it or not, the fourth industrial revolution is inevitable. Padating na ho yan. Technology is coming. Ang clear evidence nga niyan is the Zoom, the Food Pandas, and the Grab Food, and the Lazadas. These are technology moving towards fourth industrial revolution. And when you talk about fourth industrial revolution, you talk about many things that are very complex. So when you talk about the fourth industrial revolution, you're also talking about lifelong learning because these technologies evolve. Wala naman technology for the last 10 years. It will evolve in the next 5, 10, 20 years. And whenever evolution happens, lifelong learning is a must. Dapat natututo rin mo tayo because maiiwanan at maiiwanan tayo. So I just want to show you some of the components of the fourth industrial revolution. We're talking about artificial intelligence, big data, autonomous robots, simulation. Ito yung mga components ng artificial intelligence. Pero marami nagsasabi na, Senator, hindi naman natin magagamit to sa trabaho natin. Maliho kayo dyan. No? Because even yung mga traditional jobs na nakikita natin, for example, product marketing, digital marketing, business management, advertising, they are now components of fourth industrial revolution emerging in those traditional jobs. No? This is a slide that I got from the World Economic Forum. This is the Future of Jobs Report 2020. I encourage you to download this. It's for free. So World Economic Forum. I-download niyo ito. Napakaganda po itong report na ito about fourth industrial revolution. And it tells you how the world is moving and what skills do we need and what skills do we need to learn throughout our lives. And then in that same report, tinanong nila yung mga negosyo, what activities are you looking at for the next few years? And ito yung mga activities: accelerate digitalization, provide more opportunities to work remotely, accelerate automation tasks. Lahat puro remote and digitalization. Every company now is looking at using the digital tools to work remotely and to make their lives more efficient. Parang ang nangyayari ngayon sa negosyo, they're now exploring working from home as the norm. The new normal now is working from home. But if you work from home, you need digital tools. You need to digitalize everything to work remotely. And they're also, tinanong din nila, ano ba mga technologies gagamitin nyo? Sabi ng mga corporations, cloud computing, big data analysis, Internet of Things, all of these technologies are part of the fourth industrial revolution. So in short, businesses now are adopting the fourth industrial revolution components to make their lives much easier and to work remotely. So because of that, maraming mga trabaho ang mawawala at maraming mga bagong trabahong papasok. So yung mga trabahong papasok, data analyst and scientist, AI and machine learning specialist, digital marketing and strategy specialist. Pag nakita nyo, puro specialista sila. So kung wala kayo dito, magiging obsolete na yung trabaho ninyo in the next 5 or even 10 years. So take note. If you're what you now is not within the skills in the increasing demand section, you'll be obsolete in the next 5 to 10 years. And you see the decreasing demand. Data entry clerks, administrative and executive secretaries, mga entry-level jobs. So kung nag-aaral ka ng accounting and bookkeeping and gusto mo and payroll, magiging obsolete ka na for sure in the next 5 to 10 years. But the companies are all saying, ang hirap naman to move into the fourth industrial revolution. And these are the barriers: skills gaps, inability to attract specialized talent, skills gaps among organization, even within the organization, may skills gap. So mahirap, no? And take note, most of the barriers here are all pertaining to skills, all pertaining to knowledge and skills. And this is where the deficiency comes in. Kulang ng skills, kulang ng talent sa merkado because hindi tinuturo sa college. Ngayon, what are the skills needed to be taught in college and even in senior high school? Analytical thinking and innovation, learning, active learning and learning strategies, complex problem solving, critical thinking and analysis. Puro thinking and analysis. Wala na yung memorization. No? Wala na yung mga babasahin at memorize mo, tapos susulat mo. Iba nga, nag-cheating pa dahil madali naman i-memorize. So everything is about critical thinking. And these are the skills that we need to learn. Again, if you're not learning all of these skills in college, rest assured you're obsolete by 5 years from now. No? Because the world is moving to a fourth industrial revolution world. Pinakita ko yung skills, tapos papakita ko naman yung mga bagay na pinag-aaralan natin dito sa Pilipinas. Makikita natin that, oops, let me just, oops, kamali ako. Makikita natin na yung top 2 skills na pinag-aaralan ng mga bata dito, communication, entertainment, and gaming. Maraming magaling mag-computer, puro entertainment and gaming. And communication dahil magaling mag-Facebook Messenger. Kita naman natin, mahilig mag-chismis yun, diba? Kaya puro Facebook Messenger. So we're learning the wrong skills. No? We're learning the wrong way of using technology. So if there's a model that I want to emulate in our country to make sure that we have the necessary skills moving into the future, this is from Skills Future Singapore. Binisita ko po ito sa Singapore. And Skills Future Singapore is their agency that will make sure that Singaporeans will have the tools, the skills, and the knowledge to enter into the fourth industrial revolution. So meron silang specialized agency, no? And if you look at their programs, no, in programs nila cuts across all sectors from students to employees, early career, mid-career. So hindi lang yung students, pati employees tinutulungan nila. And employers. No? So they have a program for students, employees, and employers. So even nasa loob ka na ng trabaho mo, Skills Future Singapore will help you upskill and reskill. Ang pinakamaganda pa dito, babayaran ka nila at babayaran pa nila yung iyong pinagtatrabahuhan to reskill and upskill their employees. So it's a very comprehensive agency and a very comprehensive program to make sure that Singaporeans are attuned to the fourth industrial revolution by making sure that they learn throughout their lives. No, natututo sila. And this is where the concept of lifelong learning comes in this particular case, induced by the government. So going back to my dream as getting my master's degree, alam niyo, hindi na ngayon imposible yan because most of the universities, at least the top universities and well-known universities in the US are now offering online courses. In fact, Stanford is offering master's degree, no, in different courses. My university, where I graduate from, is offering now MBA. Dati wala to nung nag-aaral ako doon. You have to go there and spend 2 years. But now you're full, you can get your online, you can get your MBA, your master's degree in business administration, full online. You don't have to go there. No? Optional na lang yung pagpunta doon. But everything will be done online. This is unthink of. No? You cannot imagine this pre-pandemic. In fact, this came about post-pandemic na. No? And maraming universities in the state, top universities like Carnegie Mellon, like Syracuse, all offering online MBA. So ako nga tuwan-tuwa ako. It's just ang problema ko ngayon, time. No? Wala kasi tayong time because this also demands a lot of time. But if you can manage your time efficiently, you don't have to go to Syracuse, which is upstate New York, to get your MBA. You can do it here at the comforts of your home. But at the same time, may downside rin yan to graduate students who are entering university or teaching universities. Because of these online courses, instead of applying here domestically, you apply na lang abroad. So in effect, this is some sort of a competition, no, to our local universities because obviously those who can afford will take their online MBA abroad. No? The branding is important. No? Getting that diploma from Syracuse is quite attractive. No? So in effect, this is competition to our local universities and competition to our local graduate students. So again, we have to pay attention that the fourth industrial revolution also presents competition, and we have to keep on honing our skills in order to compete. So just to share with you what we're doing in Valenzuela, ito po yung university namin in Valenzuela. Stanford inspired to. The present mayor built this university. Ang inspiration niya is Stanford. And to keep up with the time, we engage Canvas, the online learning management system, one of the most advanced in the world, to be able to teach online. So because of the pandemic, we didn't have classes. So lahat ginawa pong online using the Canvas system. And pero hindi na kami hinto dito. What we're thinking in Valenzuela is to apply flexible learning throughout the school year, or throughout apply flexible learning moving forward. So in other words, we're not looking at the traditional way of face-to-face learning anymore, but we're looking at mixing online learning and also face-to-face moving forward. So even post-pandemic, nakikita namin sa new normal, hindi na papasok ng bata everyday. No? Meron ng online learning, meron asynchronous, meron synchronous, para more time para sa bata na mag-aral sa bahay at hindi na mata-traffic o hindi na babiyahe pa. We're now going to use flexible learning as the new normal in our university. So again, I hope I've imparted a very simple message to all of you, that technology is moving, the fourth industrial revolution is coming, and if you don't learn throughout our life, you'll be obsolete. Last thing we want to happen in our lives is studying graduate school for 2 years, and then after 5 years, nobody wants you. So lifelong learning is very important, and we have to make sure that we keep up with the times. Thank you very much.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the good Senator Honorable Sherwin Gatchalian sharing his worthy perspectives on lifelong learning. Joining us as well is the founder and chairman of Pan Pacific University, Sir Romeo Padilla. Good morning, sir. And this time, we would like to engage, Senator, if you could allot extended few minutes for an interaction with our participants, if possible, Senator.
Yes, please.
Okay, so we're inviting our participants to please hit the chat box for your questions, or let's say comments or commendation to our good senator about the programs that they're doing or the initiatives of his office, or any clarification about his sharing this morning. Dr. Carl, we would like also to bring you in, and Dr. Engelbert for some comments too. Dr. Carl, Dr. Engel.
Yeah, I'm very happy to hear that from the good senator. You know, Senator, if there's one person who wanted to join us today, it's Dr. Phoenix of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, just that they have a board meeting right now. He's sending his regards. He's a good friend of your dad, according to him. You know what we did, what we realized, ladies and gentlemen, and of course to our panel, to our reactors, Dr. Digdino and Dr. Bose, you know, it's when we gathered industry people and the academe together. We sat down, I told you, every week, we looked into what we can do together. And there are just so many other unturned stones that will show the gems of our Philippine educational system, rather than just, you know, saying things that we have read in the papers like that of PISA, you know, all those, the World Bank findings, etc. So if only we will look into solutions. A critical success factor will be the teachers. And I'm glad that there are many MAED students, and we're very strong with our MAED program, Senator. And for your information, the good university, Pan Pacific University, even with the approval of our chairman, we even had launched the graduate school now, pay later. Would you believe that? They can engage in a graduate study without having to pay right now, but you can pay later when you're able to have the resources to pay it. Okay, so marami pong mga innovations like in the case of our MBA program, imagine magtuturo sa iyo yung yung founder at saka may-ari ng Potato Corner, yung may-ari ng Kurimi, lots of pizza, yung mga ganong klaseng level sa education, yung mga rockstar principals, yung mga presidents of schools and so on. We're just so happy that a university like Pan Pacific is very open and very committed to lifelong learning. Okay, at this point, we would like to, Dr. Virgo, would you do the honor of introducing our discussant? Then we will manage the flow of our conversation later. Thank you.
Correct. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Carl. Dr. Engel, anything else to add as a comment or thoughts on the sharing of the good senator?
Senator Win, thank you so much for joining us. We are very grateful. This is our first time to invite in our midst a senator from the Republic of the Philippines. Sana nga po face to face, but of course we can't because we are still in a pandemic. But we thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to invite you. Sabi nga ni ni Dr. Kyle kanina, we continue to innovate here at the Pan Pacific University, and hoping that one day, if there is one thing that we can be proud of, is that our students are actually occupying the best spot. It's not only the best spot, but actually one of the most challenging ones, because we're producing leaders already. One of our speakers later on, Dr. Danilo Bose, is with CHED Region 1. And then we have another one. He can't join us today, but he is in CHED Cordillera Administrative Region. And so we wanted actually to become one of the producers of those yung makaka-change talaga ng society to become a better leader. And lastly, sir, if you will, please invite us, or if whatever partnerships or programs that Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Valenzuela may have, we would be happy, very, very happy to be part of it, or to collaborate. And of course, if you have projects in your office, tag us if you need an expertise in Pangasinan. And sana nga po, we can invite you soon when the opportunity would allow, especially kung may face-to-face na. Virgo, thank you.
Dr. Virgo, if we may have a photo op already, our discussant, of course, the school officials with the senator. It's really a rare opportunity. But what I will not forget about Senator Win was when we launched Maestra, just to share with everyone, the humility and the commitment of the senator to education. Dr. Pasag, while the others are opening up their cameras, we launched the Maestra Journal, remember, in Cuneta Asedong, Virgo. The senator was there so early, like I think the appointment was at 7, and senator was there before 7, before 15 minutes or 30 minutes before that. And he was having coffee at the backstage, ordinarily asking coffee, and our coffee then was just a 3-in-1 coffee, knowing that he's a Gatchalian. He was drinking the coffee. Then we launched it. It so happened that the stage was empty, except that we had LED wall, and there was no table on stage. So we sat in the front seat. And then after that, I introduced the panel discussants. At that time, we had the Vice President of Southville International and very classmate, and some other speakers. I think, Virgo, we had the late Dr. Pearl Taiko at that time. You know what, Dr. Pasag, you won't believe it. After his keynote, he went down to the front, at the front seat. He sat with me and said, I want to stay, I want to listen to all of them. And he spent the next 2 hours just listening to all the presentations. And I remember him even taking down notes in his phone about what he probably got from the conference. And you wouldn't expect that from a high-ranking person like him. And really, it was something we appreciate, something I will remember Senator Win Gatchalian for, and that's why I'm a big supporter, I'm a big fan. Okay, let's have a picture. What about the president? Maybe we should have President Ronda also join us, and the chairman, if we can turn on their camera so we can have a picture, and later on we'll invite everyone else who may want to have a picture with a good senator to turn on. But for now, we would like to request President Padilla and Chairman Padilla to turn on their camera, and let's put them also in the screen. Let's have a picture. All right, wait, we're just waiting for them.
Patrick.
Okay, see Chairman, I think we could also have a picture with the Chairman. And that we have a growing audience in the Facebook, and I think the Pan Pacific community is watching this. Thank you, and be proud of your university, of our university for this one. Okay, dun muna sa ano, can we have muna in our OBS our dignitaries, our officials, and if there are any university official, Dr. Pasag, who's present, maybe we can also put them in the frame. All right, let's smile. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and one more time. 1, 2, and 3. Lando, you're taking it? Okay, and everyone else who may want to have a picture with the senator, just turn on your camera. We'll post this in the Pan Pacific page. Just grab it so that you can tell your friends that today we listen to him and we listen to the other guests. Of course, Director Danny Bosse and former Undersecretary Lorna. Okay, you're there. Everybody turn on their camera na. Okay, ready? Smile. Make sure you have a good smile and a good light and a good frame. 1, 2, and 3. All right. One more time. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, the Secretariat, are you taking the pictures? Please do, huh? Make sure we have it. Okay, thanks so much. Let's go back to the program. So here we go.
All right, so maraming salamat po Dr. Carl Balita, and of course, to show our gratitude to the good senator, we would like to present the certificate of appreciation. And let me read the content. Certificate of appreciation is awarded to Senator Sherwin T. Gatchalian for sharing his expertise as a speaker in the Graduate Studies Summit with the theme Lifelong Learning Beyond Graduate School. Given this 17th day of August 2021 at the Pan Pacific University, Urdaneta City, Philippines, signed Dr. Carl Balita, the Program Director of Carl E. Balita Executive Education, and signed Dr. Engelbert C. Pasag, the Chief Operating Officer and the Dean of the Graduate School. So once again, let's give a virtual clap to the good Senator, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian. Maraming salamat po, Senator. Okay, so this time, I think the good senator could stay. Otherwise, if of course he has a lot of commitment with the day, then really we thank him for joining us in this event. So we shall now proceed with the other discussion, the conversation on graduate school and beyond. So it's my honor to present to you the product, of course, of Pan Pacific University Graduate School, the alumnus of the graduate school of the said university, the OIC Chief Education Program Specialist of the Commission on Higher Education Region 1, Dr. Danilo Bosse, and the former Undersecretary of the Department of Education on Curriculum and Instruction, the one and only Dr. Lorna Digdino. And to facilitate this conversation, may we have back Dr. Carl E. Balita. Let's all give them a virtual call. Dr. Carl.
All right, hi. Dr. Lorna, yeah, coming from occupying the second highest position in the DepEd, please share with us your journey as a lifelong learner and your perspective of lifelong learning, Dr. Lorna. You're still muted, ma'am. Can we have to unmute? Yeah, there you have it. Dr. Lorna, please.
So thank you so much, Dr. Balita, Dr. Lopez, and to all of you. Senator Win is still there. Good morning. Also to our dean and other officials of the Pan Pacific University. Good morning. I am a baby boomer. I graduated, I think I finished my PhD in 1994. But since 1994, for 27 years, I have been a lifelong learner. I went back to school several times. So one thing that I did was I went to UST, took up law, but I did not finish it because I realized I really wanted to be a teacher, not a lawyer. Then I went back to UP. I started reading because I realized that reading was really a problem, and it has been a problem of the country. I took up values education. I went back to school for not just English, language studies, but also for a lot of other things. I have been really learning a lot. And so I'm saying that as a baby boomer, it's really from womb to tomb. For me, it's an obligation, not only for myself, but it is also an obligation for others. We cannot really serve other people if we don't transform ourselves. I think transformation was underscored by Senator Angara earlier. And so I would say, if we really want to help other people, to help our community, our country, then we have to really learn, upgrade, upskill our competencies, not just competencies, our skills, but even our knowledge and our values, our attitude. All these things can be learned. And for me, lifelong learners are people, are human beings, have better lives, more satisfying and happier lives, because they are always comparing what they were yesterday, last week, last year, comparing themselves with who they were, not comparing themselves with other people, because practically that is the story behind the saying, become a better version of yourself. So it's really a journey with a lot of reflection, examination of one's life, what it is to learn, what it is to unlearn, what it is to learn some more. So I think I would end there, Dr. Balita, because I would wait for your questions later. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Yeah, I'm also a big fan of course, whenever we had a conversation in DepEd, especially in the areas of curriculum, and you found yourself there in the moment when the K-12 came into the picture of our system, and maybe you can tell us more about that and its direction towards lifelong learning. What about Dr. Bosse, Dr. Danny? Yeah, you're a product of Pan Pacific. Being in CHED, what drove you really to get into lifelong learning and graduate studies?
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Carl. And first, may I recognize Senator Win Gatchalian. We're so happy that you were able to attend to join us today. Yes, of course, I am really a fan of lifelong learning. And of course, with that, at first, parang hindi ko na gustong ituloy eh. Okay? Parang ayoko nang ituloy. But when the opportunity knocks, because last year I was assigned to the Cordillera Administrative Region as OIC Director of CHED Cordillera Administrative Region, and at the same time, the OIC President of Benguet State University. So that opened my door towards a wider opportunity. And because of lifelong learning, because of my degree earned in Pan Pacific University, marami akong opportunities, marami kong experiences na naranasan because not only a government employee, but also a citizen of the Republic of the Philippines. Yes, I believe in lifelong learning because when the pandemic struck, we need to relearn, unlearn, and again, learn new things. Kagaya ngayon, nasa Zoom tayo. We used to not having this kind of conversation and meetings before, that because of what happened, really we need to improve ourselves, we need to upskill ourselves, and we need to upgrade our skills just to cope up with the demand of time. So again, I do not only represent the Commission on Higher Education, but I also represent the Pan Pacific University as a developer or molder of youth in this part of the country. With that, I end my short speech, and I will just answer questions when being asked. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lorna. One of the weaknesses of our standing, I just don't have the recent data, is the number of PhDs, for example, and number of people with master's degree in our country. Have you heard about this limitation that we have in that part of that statistics? And what in your experience, having also been in the graduate studies, what do you think really drives a person to go graduate studies?
I really would like not to be so honest, but I taught in the graduate school before in 1994 to 2006. So it is, and I also taught at PMU when I was USEC. And so whenever I asked my students that same question, the answer really is something that I really do not like to hear, but it was what I heard, that I like to become, I like to be promoted. So I was really sad listening to that answer, because what I wanted to hear was I wanted to be a better teacher. I wanted to make sure that our learners are really learning from me, that they will be better citizens of our country. Those things that I really wanted to hear. So I think we need to have a greater advocacy to make sure that when they go to graduate school, and I'm very happy that when I was listening to Dean Pasag, that you are honing your students to be transformative leaders, to transform, to be able to help our community, our society. And that's, I just hope that each of your students, each of the graduates would really imbibe, really have that point of view, would really have that perspective, because that is what we want in each of our students in the graduate school. In fact, not even just in the graduate school, but even in senior high school, also in the higher ed, across the higher ed curriculum, from bachelor's to higher education, graduate programs. And so I think we are still giving a lot of premium on number of the promotions. So questions are not yet really demanded. That the competencies that I have, that the qualifications demonstrated in the thickness of the documents that you can present during application for promotion purposes. And there was when I went to DepEd in 1997, and they asked for us to apply as ASDS, because I was a superintendent eligible when I went to DepEd in 1997. And so I was looking at the office of the division, or the division where I was, and there was one applicant there was also a superintendent eligible, and he was already a supervisor. And when I look at his documents, it was more than 3 inches thick. And I said, I could not present that kind. So are we going to apply for assistant superintendent based, and the promotion would probably be based on the thickness, on the weight of the documents that you are going to present? I don't have that time. I don't have that, because I was in a private school. I taught in the private school from 1986. Now, 1986 to 1997, I was full-time there and I was vice president for academic affairs when I left that school. So I don't have a lot of documents to present. So, and I was telling myself, so I would never become a superintendent in this case, because I could not present. So all that I'm saying here is documents should not be very important. As you mentioned as you have shown and shared a while ago, the definition of lifelong learning, what is important is competence. And competence cannot just be shown in a small certificate or even in this thick holder of certificates. Qualifications are very important. Demonstrated competence, demonstrated qualifications should be more important. So, and helping other people is more important than getting a promotion. So not reward, but internal drive to become better, I think is more important. Dr.
Yeah. Thanks so much for that sharing. And I should say really that, I have interviewed some of the most successful entrepreneurs from the brands like, I mentioned about Potato Corner, mentioned about those big brands. You know, to my surprise, the founders did not study business. You know, but you would see them as really lifelong learners who even have to go overseas to learn. Like the owner of what do you call this, Latza Pizza would even have to go to the US to learn how to make pizza. You know, the owner of Richie Cuna, the owner of Corimi and Fior Gelato, even had to go to the US to learn how to make ice cream. You know, it's not always about, you know, going to a formal school to get it. But, you know, there is something that I want to share, and the good senator is still here. But if I may share this part, I got this. There's such a thing as innovation, Global Innovation Index. And it's based on institutions, human capital, especially, and research. It includes how many researches are developed, tertiary education, graduate studies, and so on. I just want to present to the group the ranking of the Philippines in the ASEAN across 2015 to 2019. If you may want to benchmark it with Singapore and Malaysia, you would see the Philippines at 83 in 2015. But the good thing is we are improving. I think this pandemic just accelerated our willingness to study. Kita nyo from 83 to 74, 73, 73, 2017 and 18. 2019, we jumped 54. This is good. Kasama po dito yung mga studies, mga researches, patents, and so on. Pero look at how far we're from Singapore, a small country like Singapore, which is the model of the senator kanina for the future skills future. But look at Malaysia. Pero ako na-challenge ako sa Vietnam. Vietnam that just came from war, you know, in our recent history. Compare Philippines and Vietnam, you would see our ranking. Yeah, we're lagging behind Vietnam. Think about it. We just believe we speak good English, and we're the call center capital. We supply nurses and etc. all over the country. But I think we really have to look at it in a deeper sense and see our Global Innovation Index, which is not only based on one indicator, but a lot of indicators, which include knowledge and technology inputs. The senator talked about it earlier. Look at that. Human capital specifically, the pillar 2 is actually one of the major. So yeah, and that's why this event is to really entice everybody to not stop learning, go to graduate studies if you have to, and if you get into a thesis, make sure, and dissertation, make sure they are relevant for the contributor to the world of learning. We would like to invite questions from everyone. Please key in the chat group. Sir Virgo, maybe we can also get some questions in the Facebook, and please put it in the chat to our secretariat. I'd like to ask Dr. Bose, you may have some data from CHED regarding engagement of graduate studies. If you have anything to share, and I know you're also teaching in the graduate studies, what did you see as common reason why people will jump in a masteral or doctorate program?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Carl. Yes, one reason could be not only to bolster one's resume, but it could also improve one's skill in, for example, communicating, in leadership, in management of people. So that's one best reason why we should take graduate programs. And in the tertiary level, we thank Congress, of course, andito si Senator, for providing scholarship for our K-12 transition programs. And of course, today, yung sikap natin, yung scholarship for instructors, knowledge advancement program, because we need to improve the skills and capacity of our faculty members in the tertiary level. And today, we are again accepting scholars from the different higher education institutions to engage in lifelong learning through the graduate programs. The government is providing everything for us, for our faculty members to complete their master's and degree programs. And mind you, we have a lot of grants that are available for our faculty members. And again, we are implementing that SICAP program for the Philippines to be comparable with other Southeast Asian nations, or comparable with the world. So if there are faculty member opportunity to take this scholarship program to improve our skills, to improve our competencies inside our respective classrooms. Thank you.
All right, thank you. May we ask our participants, especially our graduate students, please chat. Why are you pursuing your graduate studies? If I can do a survey among you, what will be your response to that question? What motivates you to spend nights and days for your studies? And of course, why would you spend a lot of money, especially for your dissertation? While I throw my next question to Dr. Bose. Sir, like how much is the entire the graduate studies being shouldered by that grant?
Yeah, I'm not the I have to check my notes, but everything is being shouldered by the government. Transportation, book allowance, tuition fee, and other expenses in the graduate programs is being shouldered by the government. At,
Yeah.
As long as they will enroll in the delivering higher education institutions of their choice. Hindi naman automatic yung delivering HCI. The HCI will just apply to the Commission on Higher Education, and based on the documents and criteria set, then they will be considered as one of the delivering higher education institutions.
Yeah, very, very nice, no? Kasi actually, ang dami namang perang umiikot and some of us don't just know how to access them.
Yes, correct.
Even DepEd would have a lot of grants given and scholarships and so on. Yeah, we're waiting for some questions from the participants. One of the key characteristic of an intelligent graduate student is their ability to ask questions, not only their ability to answer questions. You know, the intelligence is measured by the quality of questions you can ask, not only by the kind of answers you can give or opinion you can give. You know, at this point, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na Dr. Ma'am Lorna, no, and Ma'am Sir Danny, hindi mo na pwedeng sabihin sa panahon ngayon, hindi mo alam. Because the Google, dating nga ang timelines is BC, no, before Christ. Ngayon, BG na, before Google and after Google.
Yeah, correct.
You can just imagine during our time, we go to search in the library. Now we just go Google. You know, many of my best stories of the pandemic, yung mga yumaman, lumaki ang negosyo, nagkaroon ng bagong negosyo, they only studied in the YouTube University. Baking and other skills, hydroponics and so on. Yeah. There is a sharing here. Does DepEd offer the same scholarship grant to elementary and high school teachers? I'm not sure. Okay, you know what we will do, Jocelyn, you ask DepEd. We don't have DepEd here. Ma'am Lorna has retired. One characteristic of a graduate student is you know how to find answers to your questions.
Dr. Carl, if I may add, kasi yung tanong niya, if teachers in the elementary are if DepEd offers the same scholarship, may I just inform yung nag-question na if the faculty or the teacher is teaching in a higher education institutions na meron namang elementary or secondary level, they can apply or avail with yung sinasabi kong sikap kanina. As long as they are connected with higher education institution, offering also basic education, then they are qualified to apply for the sikap.
Okay. And may quota yan, may qualification and requirements.
May qualification din. Of course, kasi nasa quality assurance tayo so there should be a qualification for that.
And of course, there is a cap. Okay, the earlier you apply, the better.
Yeah,
all right.
Okay.
That's good. Okay, maybe have a graduate student share with us. Why are you in a graduate program?
I can see, Doctor, I can see my classmate, Nilo Paragas. Maybe he's interested to ask question.
Yeah, Nilo Paragas. Yeah,
my classmate in PhD.
You're being volunteered to ask question. Nilo Paragas. Can you unmute and turn on your camera? Yeah.
He's a DepEd teacher. I'm sure marami siyang tanong yan. Classmate ko yan dati.
Yeah, and the challenge to all the teachers here, you cannot give something you do not have. So you can pour from an empty cup. So you better upgrade and update, kagaya nga sinabi ni Senator, digitalization, the digital transformation of education. If you think we will be back to the old classroom, forget it. After all, this is a solution because you know what, prior to this pandemic, the 21st century learner is learning from the 20th century teacher in a 19th century classroom. And thank God it ended. And thank God we're now in the 21st century learning, at least in terms of technology, and the teachers are now trying to move towards the 21st century as well. Okay, thank you Dr. Ched for Albert is one of the recipient of the grant for the K-12 transition in 2016, and he finished his master's degree. Amen, Albert.
Amen.
Very good. Okay. All right. And for the meantime, I am enjoying listening, sir. Sir, wag mo daw siyang i-volunteer. Nag-i-enjoy daw siya makinig.
Sorry, Nilo.
Yeah. Zero lang po. Si Senator Win, if there's a law that you would still want to push, because I know if the senator will be there, I would ask kung ano pa kaya yung pwede nating i-push as a law. And Dr. Lorna and Sir Danny, if you have, of course, Dean Engelbert, our president is there, and the other academicians. If there is a law on education, especially pertaining to graduate studies that you think our good senator can push as he expected to continue his stint in the Senate, what would that be, if any? Dr. Lorna, could you think of anything we still need to push?
Actually, if you remember, it was mentioned by Senator Win while ago that government educator receives $100 to upskill himself. So he can use that for his professional development. Now, hopefully, I learned that long time ago, and but a few years ago. But then our country doesn't really have what is programs that are offered and sometimes downloaded and being given to all without even a very thorough needs assessment. So learning needs are not really thoroughly assessed, but then we offer different training programs for them, learning and development programs. But if an individual, let's say an educator, receives an allowance to upskill or to develop himself or herself professionally, or even as persons, then more likely we can encourage lifelong learning skills. And this money will really be used for the purpose of upgrading the individual, not just for compliance, not just attending for compliance sake, any training mandated by their organization. So hopefully, Senator Win, we can do something about it.
So this is like a self-directed learning with budget coming from, or with support coming from government, some sort of.
Yes. I think yes, but we could. The law can probably spell out qualifications, guidelines on how to finally operationalize it. But the idea here is there is really financial support to each one to really upskill, to really enhance his or her professional skills, and that really supports lifelong learning.
Probably the outcome should be very clear. Because, ma'am, there is a Philippine Qualification Framework law already. There's already a PQF law, and the Philippine Qualification Framework is supposed to align learning, formal, informal, non-formal, so that the credentials should derive from those engagements will be aligned towards lifelong learning. But I think it's still a work in progress. But before I go to Sir Bosse, may I ask, what is your comment on the CPD being measured by the number of units so that you can renew a license rather than the willingness really to learn? Kasi ang nangyayari po ngayon, magre-renew ako ng license ko ngayon kasi birthday ko next month, maghahanap ako ng CPD ko kung pwede kong bilhin sa recto yan or manghingi ako ng certificate from somewhere, gagawin ko just for me to, do you think CPD works in that manner? Yeah. I think ang connection ni Ma'am Lorna is not so good. I'll shift to Dr. Bosse. CPD being mandatory, Ma'am Lorna, CPD, the 45-unit requirement to professionals to renew, do you think it's a help? Because in some countries, even licensure exams, ang nakita ko kasi pong pattern, nagkataon doon sa ETF namin, ang role ko is on the licensure. May mga bansa po na sobrang higpit ng kanilang admission at sobrang higpit ng kanilang retention sa teacher education, for example, that they don't have licensure exam for teachers. I can name some countries. But talagang grabe yung sala. Sino papasok? Grabe admission, grabe retention. Pero pag graduate ka, you don't have to prove anything. Like if you're a product of PNU, why will you take the board when alam nyo na sa bawat 100 estudyante doon, 10,000 ang pinagpilian, tapos para makalusot ka, grabe. I mean, may mga ganun pong models. And some countries don't even have CPD because they thought that people would find their way to continuing development anyway as part of their culture and professional engagement. Do you think CPD helps?
I go first, Dr. Bose.
Dr. Bose?
Okay. My personal opinion on that is that yes, I go with you, Dr. Carl, that there's no need for a CPD anymore, because we know for a fact that other countries have a very strict admission, diba? For example, in Thailand, there's no such thing as licensure examination for teachers. They just enroll in a recognized accredited higher education institutions for them to be able to get their license in teaching. So maganda naman yung product ng Thailand, for example. But again, in fairness naman, there are kasi mga professionals that need upskilling and reskilling. Maybe that's only the part na pwede nating improve yung batas nang sa gano'n na hindi lang naman yung gustong mag-aral at mag-undergo lifelong learning ang mag-improve ng kanilang sarili. But also those who are already medyo may edad na, they can also improve their skills and their competencies.
So we're still okay with CPD.
Yes.
Of that every renewal for every 3 years. Yeah. Ako naman, I'm no CPD. Hindi ako anti-CPD. It's really how professionals are attacking it. Kasi po, like kami, may mga manghihingi sa amin ng units, attend lang ng webinar kasi kailangan lang ng units. Especially we're now NEA partner for yung center ko po. Pero sabi ko, sisiguraduhin ko, ang rule namin ni Dr. Virgo is my director for that is we will make sure that those we issue that certificate for really contain the competencies that we want based on the design of the program. And that's my commitment. That's our commitment to this country and to the professionals. Dr. Digdino, in your observation, would it really help?
Before I answer directly your question, may I also say that in the Philippines, quality assurance is very stringent. If you look at it really very closely, like every university, every college cannot just award any diploma without saying that every student has really completed satisfactorily all the requirements. So when you award the diploma, when you give the transcript of records, that means that that student has fully complied with, more than fully complied with all the requirements. So that's one. And after that, if it is one of the professionals that requires board examination, then that graduate, even if the university or the college has already certified that that student has fully or satisfactorily complied with all the requirements, then he or she has to take the board examination or the bar or the whatever is the board. Then so that's another layer, right? Then after he has the license, then he has still to qualify himself or herself to be able to renew his identification card. His identification card with the PRC, not the license, I think, but the identification card. So, and it requires CPD. Now, I believe CPD is very important, but it should be thought of differently. Like a teacher has the Philippine standards for teachers, right? It is one national set of standards. And that PPST defined where the teacher is, at what level is the teacher for every strand, for every domain. Like for instance, if I were at 1.5 and I am a beginning teacher at 1.5, and 1.5 is developing creativity. So using strategies to develop creativity, critical thinking skills among the learners. And so if I were a beginner teacher there, then present to hopefully, for instance, I send to an application to my education card, etc. Have you progressed from level 1 to highly professor after 3 years, or later on after 6 years to being distinguished in that particular strand. So I think I know it's hard work, a difficult work, but that should be the case. That should
Yeah.
be what the CPD is, not just any training program, which does not really demonstrate that the teacher has progressed his competencies along the PPST.
That's correct. Not only for compliance, no, Dr. Lorna. Not only for
Only
compliance,
for
but really for
compliance.
upgrading. Alam niyo, sa
Yes,
totoo
but
lang, itong warning ko sa lahat ng nandito ngayon, lalo na yung mga nag-aaral ng graduate studies. And I have several students with PhD, and I'm very strict for PhD program. Sabi ko, kung PhD ka tapos mali-mali grammar mo, parang ikaw mismo it's a curse. It will become a curse. So that's why my challenge to the graduate students here is, while you are studying your masteral or your doctorate degrees, you better upgrade yourselves also personally, not only in the titles that you can put after your name. I mean, you have to fix your communication skills, you have to fix your grammar, you have to grow your vocabulary. You should be able to demonstrate those, especially if you're in the area of education, no? Yung MAED namin. Ang sabi ko naman sa MPA, dapat you have deeper understanding of how government works, public administration works. You should be updated with the new laws, etc. And for the MBA, I told them you should have read cases of how other businesses have become successful. There are some business models you should be very familiar with. Otherwise, you don't deserve even an MBA after your name. In other words, you have to be true to the title that you want to achieve for your name. Okay, you have to deserve those letters added after your name by showing others that you're different. No, because that makes you different. Like, for example, there's one group I'm teaching now in China. There's a group of Chinese students in another university I'm teaching for a PhD in nursing. You know what I did? I made them really read through the Western theories of nursing, even if I know that they're in China, but to relate it in China so that we can grow the Asian theories. I mean, there has to be some discipline internally for us to be able to show better who we are because of those degrees that we are attaching to our names. Okay, Dr. Bose, there's a question here about, okay ba daw second degree? Halimbawa, graduate na siguro siya ng master's, tapos gusto niya ng another masteral degree. Is that something acceptable?
Since the purpose is to improve the graduate programs of our faculty members, maybe siguro bigyan muna natin yung mga deserving faculty members, for example, wala pang MA, wala pang PhD, to complete their degree first, and then pag-usapan natin yung mga second degree, second master, second PhD or DDD.
Yeah, parang sa vaccination yan. Kung meron ka na ng second vaccine, huwag ka naman muna magpa-booster kasi mayroon pang hindi natin natuturukan mag-isa.
Pag may sobra na lang siguro.
Senator, you're back there. Thank you for I had this question earlier. Now, if there is one legislation that you are still wishing to push, because we want you there. In fact, Dr. Phoenix just told me earlier that we have to keep Senator Win in Senate, according to him, because there are so many education agenda that we still need him for because he had been very passionate about it. If there is one legislation you still want to push, what will that be?
Well, one of the things that we need to look at and strengthen is teacher education, Carl. You know this very well. Our education system is as good as our teachers. So it's important that we make sure that they get the right education. We have very good teachers. Masisipag yung mga teachers natin . And they have the heart, the passion and the heart for education. But of course, they need to be trained, and we need to make sure that what education they are receiving in college can be used properly during their profession. So that's one of the things that we're looking at right now. In fact, we filed a bill. It's called Teacher Education Excellence Bill. It's the primary goal of this bill is to align the pre-service and in-service systems, so that the teacher, after graduating from college, is well connected and well aligned to teach in the in-service system. So that's
Yeah.
one of the legislation that I'm pushing very hard to get approved.
Wow, if we have to have the best graduates really from high school choose to become teachers. It's not true anymore. It's not true anymore now when you're not qualified elsewhere, you go to teacher education. That is not true anymore. But we want to even give reasons for many graduates of high school to dream to become teachers
Teacher.
and not dream to become this so that I can go abroad. You know, it's really to be like this. And by the way, there is a study we saw in our ETF that young children would always wish to become a teacher. But that choice differ when they get to higher levels of high school. And we are wondering why.
Doc-
Because in the elementary years, their models are their teachers. But when they go to college, to high school, they will choose other professions already. I don't know what changed their mind, you know. But the teachers will always have the advantage of influence if only they become more idle even as they grow up and get older.
Dr. Carl, we have to understand, no, and then to our listeners, how important our teachers are, especially
Yeah.
public school teachers. 90% of our students go to public schools, to our public schools. Almost 85% of our teachers end up in our public schools. So you strengthen our public school, you strengthen the country.
Yeah.
People don't appreciate this, but our public school teachers are, in the truest form, the nation builders of our country, because each and every worker, each and every person, each and every employee comes from our public school system. So if our teachers are well trained, the products, which are the learners, will be well prepared to build our nation. So that's how important they are. And so it's important to refocus again our attention to our teachers.
Yeah, especially if our teachers will be equipped enough, supported enough in terms of not only of their training and growth, but also of the technology and some tools they can use in teaching. And Senator, of course, on the other side of the story is we realized in our ETF that many children will come to school having not eaten anything. So the hunger issue, the malnutrition issue, especially of young children, would also be addressed. Imagine if the classroom is where you find a teacher is not only willing to learn, to teach, but with the proper tools to deliver it. And the children, well fed, will come and you go home with parents employed and earning livelihood to support the family. And the community supports. What a beautiful society we can build for our future. And this is the reason why the business sector called for the ETF. In fact, we supported you, Senator, when you called for EDCOM, the second EDCOM. We supported you on that. But we want to come up with solutions. I think the solutions are those in the low-lying. There are low-lying fruits we can pick from the resources available at hand. Okay, as we come close to this conversation, very fruitful conversation. Sir Danny, your final shot, please.
Yes,
Your
yes, thank you, Dr. Carl. At this point, I would like to thank Pan Pacific University for sponsoring this activity, and of course, to our good Senator, Dr. Gwin Gatchalian, for supporting a lot of programs of the Commission on Higher Education. Unang-una, Republic Act 10931, yung free tuition fee. Number 2 po, yung sa Bayanihan to Recover as One Act, or kung saan naka-appropriate yung 3 billion for the smart campus of our state universities and colleges. Ang dasal lang namin, sana po may counterpart din sa private higher education institutions, kasi nga hindi lang naman sa SUCs ang nahihirapan. Sana po kasi sa higher ed, we talk on leveling the playing field. Sana po may counterpart din yung ating mga private higher education institutions dito sa smart campus na ito, nang sa ganun ay matulungan din silang mag-cope up sa dulot ng pandemyang ito, especially sa side ng technology. With that, maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much. And Senator Win, there are many comments in the Facebook saying, thank you for recognizing the role of teachers in nation building. Not a lot of people still recognize that, but they are, in essence and in form, they are. Dr. Lorna, your final shot po.
Again, I'd like to say thank you so much for the invitation, Dr. Pasag, President Ronda Padilla, and of course, Sir Virgo and Dr. Malita and Senator Win. Nice to listen from you again, and hopefully, really, we dream that all those skills that we are needed by our learners are learned primarily by our teachers who are already in the service, and that this will also be learned in the higher education program, so that they will all be ready to really make sure that each of the learners that will be placed under their care will also be a part of active contributors in nation building. So again, thank you so much. God bless everyone. The task is still huge. Lifelong learning is just one solution, but there are so many more that can be done to make sure that we improve education in our country, to make sure that each one is ready to face the demand, the economic demand, because of rapid technological change. God bless everyone, and
Thank you so much, Dr. Lorna Digdino. Senator, would you like to say something else po before we end the
Well,
program?
I would like to thank, of course, Pan Pacific and Dr. Carl, and of course, greet Dr. Lorna and Dr. Danny. Lifelong learning is such an important topic, no? And nasabi ko nga kanina na we don't want to be obsolete, no? And if we don't learn, we will be obsolete. No? As simple as that. And when we become obsolete, we become useless. So it's good to emphasize on lifelong learning and give importance to this very special trait.
Thank you so much, Senator. And please be with us some more and longer for education, Senator. And ako personally, I'd like to say this. I want you there. We love you there. And we'll help you to keep it there. I know there are many other opportunities for you opening up, but please stay where you are because there's a lot of things you can still do, young as you are and passionate as you are for education. To the rest of, by the way, Senator, I'd like to tell you also that we have a Gawad Guru Award. It will be presented later. We're launching it because we want to give a salute to the teachers, even in these pandemic times. And to everyone, before I end this part of moderating this portion of the program, let me remind you that you are like the gadget you're using right now. I'm sure that number one, when there is an upgraded version of the gadget you're using, you want that gadget. You want an upgraded version of the gadget that you're using. I know that you deserve a better camera, a better memory, better sound, and better gadget. Imagine if you are dreaming for a better gadget for yourself, how much more you should be dreaming to have a better you who is using that gadget. Because no matter how good that gadget is, if the person using it is not capable of maximizing its use, it's going to be useless. And let me remind you, your gadget will soon be obsolete, as the good senator mentioned it. Your gadget will soon lose its value or will probably bug down. So what do? You better upgrade it. You better replace it with something better. And start. The good thing about lifelong learning is it's something within you. It's a choice. It's always a choice. So you have a chance to bring about change. It's really a choice to take that chance to bring about change from within. Be the change you want to see. Thank you very much. Virgo, back to you.
Maraming salamat po Dr. Carl Balita and our discussants with, of course, Senator Gatchalian. Sa mga kasama pa rin po natin, we still have hundreds of viewers via the different Facebook accounts from Carl Balita, Pan Pacific University, and Maestra Journal. For our participants via Zoom, may we give a heart icon to our speakers, to Dr. Carl Balita, to Senator Gatchalian, Dr. Lorna, and Dr. Danny. This time for a response and to express also her thoughts about the shared discussion, may we all welcome our very own University President, Dr. Ronda T. Padilla. Hello, Madam President.
Hello, Virgo. Thank you for this opportunity. And of course, I would also like to thank Dr. Carl Balita for our program director, I should say, for the executive, Carl Balita Executive Education, and our guests, Senator Win, Senator Angara for his greetings, Dr. Danny Bose, our very own alumnus at Pan Pacific University, Dr. Digdino, thank you for gracing our occasion this morning. So I have learned so much with what was discussed this morning, and syempre what caught me was what Dr. Danny mentioned about the private education, private HEIs also to be considered, since you have been helping the public schools. I hope that we can level the playing field with this kind of um, laws that you will um, approve, our senator. Yeah, and syempre I commend Virgo for coming up with this summit. I hope there will be more to come. Thank you and welcome to Pan Pacific University.
Maraming salamat po, Madam Rhonda Padilla. And to show our gratitude to our discussants, we would like to award this e-certificate to Dr. Danilo B. Bose and of course, Dr. Lorna Digdino. Maraming salamat po sa inyo. And speaking of really appreciating the role of our teachers in nation building, as mentioned by the good senator a while ago, reinforced by Dr. Lorna and Dr. Danny and Dr. Carl Balita, Dr. Engelbert, and of course our president, we would like to promote and to invite everyone to be part of this initiative to really continuously appreciate our teachers on the ground. And to give the details, let's all welcome our coordinator for this event, Miss Grace Arcega. Miss Grace?
Thank you so much, Dr. Virgo, and good day there, Pan Pacifics. I am Teacher Grace from Pan Pacific University School of Basic Education, and we would like to inform you that we have successfully introduced and opened the Pan Pacific Youth Tanging Guro Awards on the 26th of July. This event aims to give recognition to the teachers who have gone through their journey of empowering and inspiring the learning community even during the pandemic. And as of today, we have a total of 30 official candidates for the awards from all over the country. Tomorrow, August 18, we'll be having an interview, and Dr. Carl Ibadita is one of the judges. So part of it, the proceeds of what we'll be receiving on this webinar will be for the Tanging Guro Awards. We'll be expecting more Pan-Pacific lifelong learners. So we encourage everyone to support the event. Maraming salamat po sa inyong suporta.
There you have it, Miss Grace Arcega. And speaking of your part, paano po tayo magiging bahagi of appreciating our teachers? If you wish to have a certificate, e-certificate for this event, our technical committee will now give you the link. Just click that one and then fill it up. And then there will just be a minimum pay for the e-certificate rather, so that all the proceeds as mentioned by Ms. Arcega will be part of course, the awards to be given to our Tanging Guro Award. Okay, this time we would like to request everyone to please turn on your camera to have our photo ops with the good senator and everyone as we come to closing our event for today. All right, there you go.
With President Rhonda. Hi. All right. Congratulations to the men and women behind this event. Proud of you. Okay, who's taking the picture? Secretariat, are you taking it?
All right, so sir, ready? 1, 2, 3, smile everyone. Okay, so we're good. And then this time before we end formally, Dr. Carl Balita and Dr. Engelbert Sipasag have a good news for everyone, especially to our Facebook viewers who would like to continuously become lifelong learners. Here are now our Dean and our Program Director for the Graduate School Now, Pay Later. Dr. Engelbert?
Thank you so much, Virgo. Actually, indeed, I enjoyed the discussion with Senator Win, with Dr. Lorna, and Dr. Bose. It's how we look at graduate studies really, and how we look at credentialing, like CPDs, for example, would really help us become a better teacher somehow. Uh, last year when we launched the Carbolita Executive Education, we were actually so surprised because there were actually people, a lot of people who joined the program from all over the country. But then we were expecting more actually, and we wanted to welcome more students to join us in the graduate school. And Dr. Carl said one time when on a Sunday, sabi niya, let's break down the barrier. Think of it. Think about it. Because one thing is, a lot of teachers lost their jobs, and some students who wanted to take up the, the examination, the let, were not able to take it because of the postponement from the PRC. So how can we welcome more people if we have this payment? So we therefore thought of putting a program which is graduate studies now, pay later, or study now, pay later. So Dr. Carl, maybe you can expound on this one. We're very excited about it.
Yeah, we actually started it already for 2 terms. A lot of them may not have the money now, but with the intention and time to study, so you better invest on it. And then with the commitment to pay whenever you're able, sometime in the future, at least you have already planted the seed for your credentials. So we'd like to invite you because our intake for the first trimester of school year 2021-2022 will start next month. In fact, we're already doing some interviews. Maybe we can also ask the secretariat. In case you're interested, Dr. Engelbert, maybe we can ask the secretariat to, if they're monitoring, to also put the link to the registration to the graduate school now, pay later. This is both for the masteral program and PhD program. For the masteral program, we have a master's in public ad, master's in business administration, and MAED, master's in education. And for the PhD, we have PhD in educational administration. And you're all welcome to join us. Yeah, the link is now in our chat room in case you're interested to avail of it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so that's it, ladies and gentlemen. And to officially close our event, let's bring back our supportive dean, Dr. Engelbert, for the closing message. Dr. Engel.
Great. We're so proud. We're very happy here at Pan Pacific University because we have such a great event raised by two wonderful senators, Senator Win Gatchalian and also Senator Angara. Also former Secretary, Undersecretary Lorna, Dr. Lorna Dino, and also Dr. Bose right now from CHED. The men and women behind, Dr. Virgo, who is actually joining us fresh to give us good new start in the School of Education, in Romeo Padilla School of Education and Arts, and most especially to Dr. Carbolita. It's been a wonderful experience having dealt with a lot of problems, but we have our team. We have Dr. Carl, who's very creative in solving also some challenges that our students have, especially in coming up with the idea of graduate school now, pay later. And of course, the board and staff of Pan Pacific University was also very supportive about these initiatives. We will not mention the hardships that we have. A lot of us lost jobs, but then we said, let's open the gates because let's create an opportunity where the students can make use of their time and talent, especially right now. If they have the internet connection, if they can access as online, then we help them access also the very limited. In fact, graduate school has become an elitist one because it entails sum of money, like you have to pay. But then we open it to everyone and we talk to our friends, also our professors, and we told them, let's share what we have. Let's share our passion to this, to the community that we have built here at Pan Pacific University. Because someday, soon, these students will become leaders. And when they do, then probably they can also change the way their students would live. They would also change the way their organization is working. they will also change their co-faculty, their co-workers in their workplace, and everyone, and they can be instruments of this change. And this is something that we need to promote. And so we have this program right now. True enough, sabi ni Dr. Card kanina, we ask you to look deeper and have a better sense of questioning. You don't just open your mouth because you wanted to say something. May masabi na. But then we teach you from the very start, what can you do? What can you think of this problem? Ano pwede mong i-share dun sa problem ito? Ano yung tamang tanong na dapat itanong dito? And from there, we can have a deeper discussion from our small sacrifices before, when students are leaving Pan Pacific University because they do not understand. Why do we ask them to think? Why do we ask them projects that are actually very hard? It's simply because we want to teach you to change the way you're thinking. We wanted to change, let you experience how is it to really plan for something and have a concrete plan, an all original plan, something that you own. A study or dissertation that we push you through because we want you to come up with something that you can be proud of, because probably that will be your last piece of book that you will write, because yung dissertation mo, yung thesis mo, baka yun na yung pinakahuling libro na isusulat mo. But it should be your Bible where people will quote this and that. Like Dr. Bose, we can always quote Dr. Bose with his study or dissertation about internationalization initiatives. We can always quote the book of Dr. Carl or that of Dr. Virgo also, when he graduated from the Philippine Normal University, or the Guiding Light of Pan Pacific University, the book of Dr. Rhonda Padilla. All of these things are actually useless because it's a package. It's how you are dealing with the problems of the world. It's how you are facing everyone when you face people, when you become a leader. Because this is what we do, and this is what we want our students to experience also. And that's the reason why when we started last year, we always ask all of our faculty members, the professors, come up with a webinar. We invite people who are very, very good, and then we show this to the world. We share this to the world, and it's always open. Our webinars ever since are actually open for everyone, and this is we don't monopolize experiences in Pan Pacific University. So again, this is actually a very, very nice experience for everyone. Ang sabi nga ng isang comment, nakaka-proud maging estudyante ng Carl Balita Executive Education. Nakaka-proud maging isang Pan Pacific. And soon, with the leadership of let me just segue a bit, with the leadership of Dr. Virgo in the RPC, or Romeo Padilla School of Education and Arts, we hope that when we opened also a free education, it could be that the Pan Pacific University School of Education and Arts is the only private school which is opening its doors to anyone who would like to become a teacher. Napaka-ganda ng role ng guro, especially ngayong pandemya. And so we said, let's open. And we were talking to the chairman yesterday, sabi ni Dr. Romeo Padilla, ito ang dream ko, na yung mga papasok na 100 or 200 sa School of Education and Arts, sila yung magiging instrumento sa mga public schools or private schools in the area to improve the lives of people. And it's a challenge for Dr. Virgan, also the management of the Pan Pacific University, to come up with this challenge. It's not only yung ating mga kapatid na state universities who open up free education for those who wanted to become teachers, and even psychologists or psychometricians. But then in the School of Education Arts, we opened this one also. And I would like to tell everyone that we are open for this. And so we continue to innovate. We continue to become a pioneer. We continue to become the eyes of compassion. We continue to become the embodiment of service and of truth to our nation. And that's what we are. Our former name is PCST, or Pangasinan Colleges of Science and Technology. And thus we coined the term. I mean, when we traveled back to our original name, PCST. It's Pioneer Compassion Service and Truth that it stands for right now. And it's engraved in our hearts. And that we wanted to share all of this very soon to everyone. So maraming salamat for our students who are here and all those 120 applicants for the Study Now, Pay Later program or Graduate School Now, Pay Later program. Please contact our secretariat. We want to have you join us in changing the world for the better. Join us also in coming up with challenging and exciting learning here at Pan Pacific University. So thank you so much, everyone.
And we also respond, thank you so much, Pan Pacific University, and to each and everyone who made this summit possible. So again, to all the teachers who would like to become one, join us at Pan Pacific University School of Arts or Education and Arts. And with that, one line, we all become lifelong learners beyond graduate school for the benefit of our students, of our schools, and of our communities. Maraming salamat po, and see you virtually next time, and of course face-to-face when the time permits or pag-open na po ang ating panahon. And we end with the Pan Pacific University hymn. Magandang hapon po sa lahat. Thank you.
Tomorrow is here. We hold the key to open the doors where dreams become reality. We loyal daughters and sons gratefully offer praise to one, to PCST with honor and pride. We sing of thee, our own faithful guide of science and technology to better lives here at home and o'er the sea. Let your fame be known, hail PCST. When we think of the teachers and friends we have made, who transform our lives as they do, we know distance and time cannot steal them away. In our hearts burns a flame ever true. Tomorrow is here. We hold the key. The future is ours, and dreams are now reality. Standing tall in your light where glory shines, with our heads held high, we sing of thee, PCST. Sing praise to thee, PCST.
Alright, muli po, supportan po natin ang Tanging Guro Award. Para po sa certificate, please access https and PGS Summit. And once again, magkita-kita po tayo sa Tanging Guro Award soon. Salamat po ulit.
Salamat. Congratulations.
Guro, ika'y ina ng mga anak na hindi mo katuko. Ika'y ama ng mga batang sa bisig mo kumakapit sa iyo. Ika'y kuya sa mga paslit na naghahanap ng kaibigan. Ika'y ate sa mga mag-aaral na wala ng ibang masabihan. Maari mang di makita ng iba, ngunit sa amin, kayo ang pinakamagandang biyaya. Ngayong panahon na ang pandemya ay tila di na tumitila, nariyan kayo, di nagsasawa sa pagbibigay ng gabay, ng suporta, ng ilaw sa unti-unting pagdilim ng daan sa inaasam naming edukasyon.
Good morning, students. How are you today?